What do you want?
Just the water.
He's bringing water for us too.
Okay. If you're gonna get that.
Here.
Okay.
Is that good enough for him?
Can you use a piece of green paper?
It would have been easier for you to swallow.
Yeah, maybe, whatever. Okay, what do you want?
Just water. Or something to drink to take my chill pills.
Yeah, kitty.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Dexter,
Okay.
I have water.
Okay, thank you
free water.
Thanks, Brad.
No problem.
Congratulations, folks. Good luck.
Yes. Oh, if that works, go ahead. I'll give you my keys if that works out.
Diet Coke.
Would you drive home by yourself?
I'd rather the kids get home. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
Decrease
Are we ready to
risk of accident.
We demand that the United States federal government should deregulate the growth of hemp for the production of biofuels. We reserve the right to clarify. Contention 1, the capitalist machine. The prohibition of hemp can be only described as evil. It perpetuates capitalism. CRH08. Restoring hemp to its rightful place in agriculture today will return much of farmers away from multinational corporations. Property this planet is evil in place. We have industries and processed products and land unprecedented ecological crisis and worldwide destruction. And capitalism creates prisons of oppression that deny value to life and make the worst atrocities like the Holocaust inevitable. We have an ethical obligation to suffer such atrocities. Toulouse and Guattari 72. Capitalism defined as cruelty, having no parallel, and despotic reason of terror. Capitalism on all with wider scale, several consequences, improvements, increase in improvements, the standards in the center displays the harshest forms of exploitation from the center and the periphery. There is no metaphor in the factories or prisons. They do not resemble prisons. They are prisons. And it should only follow that we have an ethical political duty to confront the horrors of capitalism that comes before any other impacts. Xheka and Daily 4. Our ethical responsibility for constitutional violence is global capitalism, seeing naturalization, harmonization with the millions who are subjected to it throughout the world. Xheka is arguing from a politics that focuses on the organizing principles of today's social reality universalism, whose primary article directly confront the fact that our forms of social existence are found in our exclusion on a global scale. And contention 2, the Hempire strikes back. But affirmative to intellectually realize that capitalism is bad and that you as a judge need to take an ethical response to the implications of capitalism. Johnson 04. The most important is negativity is the critical struggle, the effort to cure the intellectual consummation resulting from the capitalist ideology, and thereby to truly open up space for imagining authentic alternatives to prevailing state of the situation. Recalling the analysis of grammatic fascism, the social efficiency money is a universal medium of exchange ultimately relies on nothing more than kind of miracle that is the belief in money social efficiency of the by those using the process by products of exchange. And the external obstacle of the capitalist machine exists exclusively in the condition that subjects, whether consciously or unconsciously internally believe in it. And discursive approaches create the possibility of social change. Bleicher 2000. The main theoretical task in this endeavor is to facilitate discursive understanding power that not only explains as the previous chapter did the continued domination, but also accounts for practical dissent and influence on present social transformation. Process of social change are unleashed when a worldview outside of the prevalent social order has come to be acceptable, legitimate, moral by most of the population. The key to understanding complex and traversal struggles like slightly in working through such paradigms and relying on various forms of insight discursive approach may facilitate broad understanding of process of social change that transgress the spatial givenness of global politics. And the transcendent nature of dissent means that what seems to be a purely localized form can almost instantaneously become a globalized one. Bleicher 2000. The blurring distinction between global, local, national, international has altered the interaction between domination, resistance, and today, dissent operates at least as much in the virtuality speed the instantaneous globalized communication. This phenomenon, however, does not annihilate possibilities engaging in acts of dissent. Speed may well raise the space for the benefit of some kind of globalized instantaneous. The prevalence of speed in contemporary global politics provides the increasing opportunity to interfere with various political processes. Active dissent now have the potential to transcend their media spatial give context and enter domains that lie beyond national boundaries. And the key factor is belief. Elite backlash and inevitability are just propaganda propagated by the dominant system. Every whisper of resistance ripples through the multitudes. Anger A. all for. All kinds of secret vulnerability. They cease to exist when we no longer believe in them. A contagion whisper ripples through the multitudes rising to a war. The elite know their legitimacy is waiting that we have seen through them. The depth of the root power lies below the surface. Disobedience, cooperation, collusion. This system is more like a huge wedding game, multiple layers of domination held up by pillars which are institutions and individuals. We take away one pillar, others begin to wobble, and the system trembles. And suspension and temporality. Solvency is irrelevant. The plan is its own truth with a capital T. Xheka 04. The miracle can only occur through the repetition of previous failures. Success as such does not not can lead to in the future. Neither simply fully realized present or simply invoked as a disarmament is a rather unique suspension of morality. The short circuit between the present and the future. We are already free as we fight for freedom. We already have it, even as we fight for heaven. It is its own ontological proof and immediate index of its own truth. And forcing us to defend a government plan is another mechanism for directing ways of life that render all who inhabit infinitely vulnerable to the threat of insecurity through their drive for total control. Mitchell 5. Government politics are simply further means in the directing ways of life according to the plan and no other, and neither through tyrants nor politicians should be able to alter these carefully constructed ways of life. All governments participate in eradicating national differences. All governments form of leadership become a mechanism. Terrorism is everywhere, where everywhere is no longer refers to collection, distinct places and locations, but instead to here that is the same as there. The elimination is a standing reserve along the elimination national differences serve to identify the threat of terrorism and the quest for security. Security is for those who know they've been injured, for those who can be damaged. Security requires recognition of one's own vulnerability. Then security can only be found in acknowledgement of one's threatened condition. This means that they can it can only be found in recognition of being a threat. And war, violence, ecological destruction, and every other impact imaginable are all inevitable in a world in which we continue calculative thought. The rationalist ontology of the current world governments is the root of all their all impacts. Burke, 2007. Neither the progressive flow of history nor the passive tendencies of the international society of Republican states will save us the violent ontologies dominating the conceptual policy frameworks of modern Republican states, and from threats may the possibility that it could be designed in enter more original, revealing intents to experience and call a more primal truth. The challenge is posed not merely in a few varieties of weapon, government, technology, or policy, but the overarching system of thinking and understanding that lies claims on the entire space of truth and existence. The most destructive feature in contemporary modernity, militarism, repression, coercive diplomacy, covert interventions, geopolitical, economic exploitation, and ecological destruction derived from calculative empirical discourses of science and political truth, the brooding power, enlightenment, images of being, rationality. We give the chain of reasoning which built one structure and truth on another until the course of action, however violent or dangerous, becomes preordained through the reasoning's very opening and existence, and refuse to force the affirmative to take a stance on political action. Mick Warder, 92. Reflection is thinking that never rests complacently on the conclusions reached today. It is thinking that continues to think that never stops and satisfies, smile, and announce thinking to name us concerned with earth and the mind-boggling fact that may now have with humanity's power to destroy all life on the globe. And the hour ceaseless intervention seem to make new things worse, to perpetuate way to cycles to human activity followed by ecological disaster, followed by human intervention, followed by new disaster, and another thing. In fact, they may appear that we are trying to do things, change things, fix things that cannot be a solution because it is part of the problem itself. Heidegger calls us to do nothing to call into place in the question of bimodal logic of activity passivity. It points to the paradoxical nature of the passion for action, of our passion for maintaining control. The call itself suggests that our drive for acting decisively forcing is part of what may be thought, but the narrow option for us versus surrender is one of the power configurations current thinking must be allowed to dissipate. And framework. Interpretations now should have the choice of independent advantages based on the consequences of hypothetical enactment and plan by the United States federal government. Advantages based on in-round discourse and ethics or both. B. Standards. 1. Grammar. A. Resolve means to a person is determined. Oxford English Dictionary 89. B. The colon focuses reader's attention on what is to follow. You should use it to introduce an idea that somehow completes the introductory idea. That's fact 96. 2. Education. The only form of education which access can be solved with a copy of the New Republican Economist. Ours is the only education that requires action, not what it means but what it does and how it works. Our education inspires critical thinking. B. We encompass any education they claim and add on to it. It means that we will always win the education debate. And C. Predictably ground. 1. Critiques have slowly changed the predictive model debate in recent years to include critical arguments. Not only is our case predictable because of this, but it's inherently good because it continues this endeavor to include critical argumentation by to be expected in debate. 2. Ground is entirely subjective because scholarly debate ensures that every argument has a good counter-argument. D. The harms of affirmative are still reason to vote for us. Even if we win framework, we should still confront the horrors of capitalism that comes before any other impact. Cross the body t-shirt from Daily.
Can you mark that?
Mark one.
Did you finish it? Okay, thanks.
It's just the other way.
Okay, let's talk about your plan. So are you defending that you fiat it or no?
No.
No, you don't fiat your plan. Okay, are you defending the USFG doing it or no?
What do you mean by that?
Do you find that the USFG does your plan?
No.
Okay. Okay, let's go to your plan text. Why do you have the we demand that? Does that change the meaning of the plan?
It's basically signifying that we're a KF.
Okay. So how do you claim? Wait, let's go to hemp. How does hemp how is hemp the root cause of capitalism?
The point is that the prohibition of hemp continues capitalism because when we prohibit it, multinational corporations control our lives.
So after you reject the regulation of hemp, how does that solve? If you're just rejecting that one instance.
The point is that we're using it to refuse the larger role of capitalism.
Okay, where is the solvency evidence saying that demanding that Dexter supports this thing? What is that? Where's the evidence saying that solves?
We're talking about if you look at the Anger et al. And Xheka 04 as well as the Blanco cards.
Does it talk about you specifically?
It doesn't talk about
Does it
us.
talk about high school kids in general?
It talks about
Does it talk
individuals.
about debate?
Are we not individuals?
Does it talk about debate?
No.
Okay. Where's the solvency says that only the act demand solves?
Okay, what we're saying is that what do you mean by that? Isn't that just the same question you just asked me?
Well, can only the affirmative demand?
What, the affirmative demand?
Individuals can demand, right?
Yeah.
So can the negative demand?
Can we
I
don't know
demand something?
why that would be strategic for you to do, but you can't demand things.
Okay, cool.
There's nothing to
Oh.
stop.
You said Heidegger calls on us to do nothing, so you're supporting Heidegger in your quest to do nothing in this round, right?
No, we're not. We're only supporting maybe the call of Heidegger to do nothing.
So you're doing nothing?
No, okay, here's what we're doing. We're trying to free ourselves from capitalism. We're trying to reflect on it. And we're refusing this calculative thought because we're not ceasing we're ceasing to fall to the call to constantly make an instantaneous decision.
Cool.
Okay. Why is it best that you don't have to defend a plan?
Well, I read the...
But just explain it to me, why does that make debate better?
Because it's, perfectly predictable, as well
How
as...
are you guys predictable at all?
That we,
Okay,
I mean, the
that's fine.
definition's right there.
Check that CPU with.
Okay, one sec, we'll take that.
Water.
Okay, I've got it.
So there are only 2 waters left and 1 raspberry. One's a raspberry.
I'll take the raspberry. Yeah.
No, you.
Hey, is that for me?
Yeah.
Alright.
Why is it?
Who wants a raspberry from Blood North
Sure. Okay. Alright, we're ready.
Do that now.
You have 642 remaining.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so excited for my food.
You have 6. I'll just put it
2 off, case, framework.
We're on case.
Why don't you go on insolvency, I guess? I don't know.
The Hempire strikes
all
back.
over.
Okay.
Yeah, alright.
So it's 2 off case solvency.
Yeah.
And then framework is on the bottom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, 1 second. I think it's 1 off, the insolvency. Yeah, it's 1 off.
Aha.
Not 2 off.
1 off solvency and framework. Is that it then?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody ready? Okay. Counterplain text. We demand that the United States federal government should deregulate the growth for hemp for all purposes except for the production of biofuels. Solve the case better than the planet and avoids the link turns based on alternative energy. And on case. Big problem with that. They never answered that the all or nothing card from Zizek. The effects expanded on capitalism failed to budget capitalism success. Zizek tells us that if a car is stuck in the mud and you aren't strong enough to push it out, you will remain stuck. There's no such thing as a step away. You're just as stuck. Nothing short of rejection on front solves for Zizek. Hemp is not enough. And A, the ideology of capitalism has room trade discussion of both climate and renewable energy. The affirmative endorsement economic incentives maintain social hegemonies. This discussion is non-economic evaluations of space, criticism of capitalism, and possible errors by 2006. The entry of various policies have been happening in the modes of public formation and implementation, evolving in an undemocratic way. The climate policy is set to hinder total energy emissions and practices which will obscure hegemony based on this discourse coexist with the evaluation is non-economic goals based on discussion of this product and basic quantification. creating intermittent and protections on environmental justice, protecting the privatization, control of the energy economy, working terms of politics and capitals, undermine the framework of systematic barriers, disturbing the state of its capacity to make plans, and two independent links. B. The affirmative creates complacing by the masses and destroying the struggle against capitalism. It uses the facade of change through the market to make sure we never criticize the economy. Harris by 2006. The public is duly from the arbitrary slogans and binary climate and policies. Is the serving in the mass correctly? The politics strategy weakness whenever unable to go the right to either with information of public or based practical questions. And C. It's not possible to solve any situation without solving them all. Only criticism which attacks the universal capitalism to solve for the impacts and individual destruction of people on its earth. Jack 89. If it's not possible to solve any particular carbon, then some normal real opportunities state of things, and on spite of future plans, as long as the social reason and capital, you yourself remain an object of reciprocation. And D. Call for the direct action killing the serial policy failure. The firm's reliance on doing something justifies by ignoring the fundamental question posed by capitalism. Johnson 2004. The exertion of social political imagination that capitalism one way restraining consumptiveness and the temptation of short predictive thinking. The paper back analysis rushes out action and the their failure to disrupt capitalism and execute co-opted and personal direction is critical to moving away from capitalism. Holloway 2005. Capitalism strategy and humanity the only way to solve the perception of the revolution takes place. The institute of capitalism and the academic premise of the system of command. They refuse to obey the brief command of capital. And E. The term is completely withdrawn from the ideology of capitals. Their Johnson evidence better solvency for R than the plan. And no solvency. They only eliminate the restriction on hemp in one case. They aren't a whisper through the multitudes. They're just a faint cough. And off their ethical obligation, only solvency is the neg. They're always going to have an ethical impact, but the act always is going to have more because as long as we're solving for capitalism, the neg is always going to solve better than the app. And rejection is close to and on framework. Interpretation. The act must fund a topical fiat plan tax implemented by the United States federal government. The act wins if the policy benefits of the said plan are better than an alternative or status quo presented in the negative wins if the status quo or an alternative is better than the act plan. And violation. The affirmative does not advocate a topical plan with defend the post-fiat impacts and standards. One, predictability. The negative has no way to predict what an affirmative will do. This destroys education, thereby killing debate. But now to rectify this damage, they say they increase predictability, but at the point where we don't know what the hell they're going to run, then they don't increase predictability. And without pragmatic advocacy, discourses alone turns itself. McLean 2001. In their narrow attempts to suggest policy restriction and what they actually suggest aiming at curing the ills of homelessness, poverty, market greed, nationalism, and racism, in time for American cities to have disease and elaborate rhetoric or any threatening neologism, multi-syllabic jargon. The futile attempts to philosophize one way political rebels in one system. What happens when the left retreats from acting in the justice specter approach to the problems in the country? The means we cast to step down the guts of our coordinated social institutions, grinding fragmented details are industrial load themselves on opposite and progressive institutions, take difficult and not unpleasant perfect decision to affect people's lives. This world knowing highly for the overthrow commences. And language and performance K's and plan focus key. Spurs 2003. Affirmative teams have made focus on the arguments to prove their judgment of affirmative because they're only the one to see the arguments made including reinforcing, braving, the ironic, and any events affirmative teams so to deploy performance-based performance of depending resolution to go negative terms on the ability to challenge the plans on the framework usually makes it questions of the net desirable to the proposed policy relevant to the pure value and debate. And plan-focused debate is the only way to preserve reflective analysis. So 94. We're a society with too many advocacy and reflective analysis. The question is whether debates and permissions be to teach advocacy skills or rational problem thinking. The debate should be to tool problem skills. We haven't had the truth in policymakers, rigorous scientific way. We have to be able to truth and illustrate more properly since finding the policy best in the goal of policy debate should be to find best policy, and no problem solving means that we all die. And refusing political action in favor of some pure and the abstraction and the critiques are attempts to secure a perfectionist stance insulating from the demands of political decision-making. However, the value of any given abstraction and the dependence of an ability to lend such to practical decisions, policymakers can't vote on in Avery 2004. Perfectionist state is so easy abstraction no less than helpful and political that leaders have to choose between practice, apart from the ethical reflections irrelevant from this moment to make ethical realism from the essential to the democratic reflection of the public good policy. And plan-focused debate allows for best framework when evaluating impacts based in Lee 2003. In IPD, the teams are best in weighing facets of God's decision, the judgment evaluating competing claims. Weighing impacts are much easier around the plan, so the debate is just simply determines the largest impact determining and so there's no impact to the plan. And policy analysis proceeds discourse most effective way to challenge power. Kaufman 95. Postmodern words of the polyvocracy, otherness, and differences unsupported by the substantial analysis of the concrete contours of the subject creates a substantial Querden leaves no vision, no commitment, or activism. Has there been historical carriers of little radical analysis are active in such radical writings are postmodern evaluation, the independence of political and intellectual empowerment and the ways society can recognize the discourse in the worst terror community, science and authorities. So now if we speak, and people who live in the forms of the material postmodern hegemony and discourse and share the optimism in New York conditions the discourse of subjectives, and utopian thinking makes policy impossible given through political through a direction, so fiat is good at starting in 99. Without utopian vision given a sense of direction, without the loss and approach and preoccupied with the visibility, express concern of the possibility refrains the status quo. And engaging specific reforms is key to real-world challenge. Mere thought or discussion is unprovided. Rorty 98. The essential transformation of the cultural left undergoes in the shredding of the semi-conscious anti-Americans, which came out in the range in the late 60s. Nothing is more certain than the American left than can be agreement on contrary political theory on people's charges and special reform tax and retreating from politics prevents concrete action that are key to solve. Thus found 99. United States, however, thinks some changing observer and just quite trend that has become the balance of American can be completed to the material side of the debate for true verbal and some politics only if feminist and connection the real policy. Feminism suffered into the active population of the lofty and the new feminism, however, instructs the members in the little room large-scale social change and symbolic verbal politics in addition being offered by all topics as the only politics of possible developments are much more prominence and the influence of the extreme French idea of the introduction does politics by speaking centers in this significant political action and critical direction of policymaking fails. No action is taken to solve problems. Gunwell 89. Radical or critical political theories an idea, religion, something that is talked about or practiced in the academic fantasy and faint memory, which are longer ago than the notion of finding philosophy. Independent with instruction, and reselling the purpose of self-recovery, academic radicals and the actors on stage this and all that within the beyond the world factors, even the audience, because it's primarily actors caught up in academic theater, and they believe that something is more real acting, most valuable and efficient to the actions of life. Telecom is one thing, political politics and other world actors of visions of the world they produce. They have long since said to touch the concrete character of society, and their world is product of the script that are written by others, and deliberation assumes certain institutional structures and shared values. Guns in 2000. Indirect political illusion results from the division of competition, separation, and you have deliberation is also a form of political passion that precedes the actual taking information. Dissident politics is not a matter of avoiding spending influence, but doing the right thing and getting desirable results. Deliberately requires something to deliver the bad, and deliberation presumes certain institutional structure and shared values. Something about must be deliberately get the ball rolling and keep it rolling. And also on case, they have no evidence that says deregulating hemp only for biofuels costs. Taxes they have to say is that hemp further cap, but that's not enough. They have zero solvency, only the alternative solves. Alright, process.
What's the status of
The framework?
Yeah.
What's the status of the framework?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're advocating two different worlds because you read a K and then a framework that contradicts it.
We're reading.
So
You say framework and A, I mean, K's are okay on the negatives, but
The interpretation of our framework includes all.
Okay, so like, well,
You wanna see
would
the
you kick the
interpretation?
framework under any circumstance? Like, is it conditional, or would you like?
It's conditional. I guess it's on case, but it's conditional. It's
How
still
is
a
it-
turn
How about
on case.
what about the critique?
The critique is a turn on case. The counter plan, I
you
guess.
read
is
it all on case.
Yeah.
Like that has to have a status.
Alright, fine, it's conditional.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. So, why, like, how are, like, you read a calls to direct action bad card. Like, how are you, like, any less a call to direct action than we are?
Which card was that? Do you remember?
It was right after must solve all and, like, the alternative on, or, like, right between the card about how you have to solve all of it and then the alternative.
On the K.
Oh, yeah.
On the turn on case or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
Wait, do you guys have it?
It's junk.
Alright, you're talking about this one?
Yeah.
You ignore the fundamental question posed by capitalism. It's the point where you're just like justifying doing nothing, then you're not actually answering the question capitalism poses. And the alternative would solve because as long as we're doing the alternative, then they're always going to question capitalism, and we have to question capitalism in order to solve.
Wait. Okay, so, but like, how are we not questioning capitalism? How is our plan not doing that?
Because all your plan doing is, you're just doing something that culminates like policy failures. Wait, no, you're just doing something that only questions capitalism and the whispers of God or whatever. The point we're questioning capitalism more than we're always going to solve it. Yeah.
Oh, like, why doesn't it, like...
Because you only remove biofuels at the point where
No, I mean, like, at that point, like, the
solving
solving better, why wouldn't the perm solve? Like if
perm
we
for
if
what?
we were to
For
read a
the
perm,
K?
yeah, if we were to read a perm, why wouldn't it solve?
For what? Rejecting
Because you
the-
can't adopt a new advocacy to the point where you're claiming only 3 fiat implications. Then
Wait, are you not claiming pre-fiat implications? Are you?
yeah, but you can't change your advocacy. If your whole thing is about how you guys are solving because you're advocating a stricter way
Wait,
for
so
capitalism,
you're
you
saying
can't-
that you're like questioning it more than RFs? Isn't that just like the definition of non-mutually
You
exclusive?
mean the alt or the counterclaim?
The alt.
You're defending rejecting capitalism by means of deregulating hemp and only for biofuels. You can't change your advocacy in the middle ground. That completely destroys
No,
all
no,
your
I mean
discourse.
like, so you're saying terms in general are illegitimate?
Firms are claiming 3 fiat implications from it, and not policy.
Pot pie is very delicious. I recommend the pie.
You're gonna go where?
Pot pie.
Do you have the? Can I see that? I see it.
Okay. No, he wants to see your ballot.
The pot pie is so
In fact, I
good.
wrote one of them.
Read it and see if I.
Duran and I have been through this several times, actually.
You're the one I see.
Yeah, right here.
I've decided that you're right, that all theory arguments are about the real world if they are the potential for abuse or potential for whatever outside the realm of education. But I've also decided that I'm still right, that the real world is a construct and shouldn't be considered any more important.
Any more important than the fake world of debate?
Yes, because you're calling it real, but that doesn't make it real. No. Well, that's lame, because you get to control the contents of that world, and that makes it fake. Real world is just a label. It's not really real.
Real, like fake real.
Oh, so now there's a fake real world.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I might be out-poser jargoned here.
Dexter team round one, and I was like, I don't have zero around there and have a huge speaker plate. Because I was, well, I was never. But I was like, maybe I want to see if I was a huge point fairy. Hey, I wasn't. Dan, I wasn't a point fairy. I actually was close to being the low, which is really funny.
Do you have your the cap page around? Gives really good examples.
All our cards are over
Yes.
We usually just use more.
You have it on the line by line, or you have it on your flow.
He seems like a Republican.
Katie, you also
Like the wackiest Republican I've ever seen.
And Brett.
Oh, that's intense.
I totally
And I
disagree
got
with
bread.
that.
429.
You didn't want chips or you
How much?
No, I think
429.
libertarians don't like interfering with other people, though. All right. Drive safe.
Okay, I'm gonna go on the counterplan thing, and then the case, which I guess is now like their cap case too, right?
Are you doing face then the cap face?
No, like aren't they in the same flow?
Yeah, going straight down.
Yeah. And then so counterplan case cap case thing, framework.
Quick question. Those last couple of arguments that they said were on case, did you put those on case or did you put them at the bottom of framework?
Which arguments?
The like doesn't solve
Oh, I
withdrawal,
put that
like
on
those
the
last
case.
3 arguments. Okay, so you did go back to your case flow. Alright.
Okay. Everybody ready?
Yes.
On the counterplan, first, it's totally not competitive. Perm do both. Legalize hemp for everything. And also, there's a major solvency deficit on the counterplan because oil is the critical instance of capitalism. Look at it right now. The U.S. relies on its energy from multinational oil corporations. They're controlling our way of life. They're preventing opposition. We have to use oil. There is no other alternative. And that hemp being illegal prevents us from moving away from that. But in the event that we legalize hemp in the instance of biofuels, the critical aspect, then we can remove ourselves from the multinational oil corporations that are functionally running our government, and then we can begin to resist capitalism. And it's a net decrease in capitalism. It always solves. There's a net. They have to prove why every other instance of hemp is capitalist, and they have not done the work. There's no reason why the counterplan should ever be evaluated. And then also on the CAPK, perm do the alt. It's functionally the same thing as the plan. They're saying a total withdrawal from capitalism. So that's exactly what we've been doing. We're asking you. You can send across most of the 1AC, which talks about how rejecting capitalism is key. And then on the line about there's also the cap case has no link. They're talking about how we're trying to change energy policy through incentives, but first of all, we're not fiating the plan. We're not demanding that anything be done. We're asking you to take an ethical stance against it, because demanding would be engaging in calculative thought, which you can cross-apply from the 1AC is very...
we make a demand, but don't expect
we make a demand, but we do not expect the U.S. federal government to actually fulfill this demand, because the U.S. federal government is complacent within capitalist ideology, and it relies on oil, and they'll remain complacent with the calculative thought. And to make them provide a specific link to our case, the cap K is not responsive to a cap bad K isn't responsive to a cap bad app, and there's no link. And they're also they say that
they don't have to necessarily be capitalist.
Yeah. What? And the capitalism case, just them standing up here reading the capitalism case doesn't mean they capture any of our discursive solvency. And then they're saying that we can create complacency within the masses and destroy the struggle against capitalism. But this is not true. We are the exact opposite. We're asking you to take a step away from capitalism. They also say there's no such thing as a step away from capitalism unless it's a complete step away from capitalism. But this is totally false. You can extend across anger at all for that says even the smallest resistance can ripple to the multitudes. And the minute we stop believing the system, the minute is the system falls. And you can extend across Xheka. The Xheka card that talks about how when the fact that we are fighting against capitalism means we are free from capitalism, and there's no reason to ever look at the cap counter the K, because it just doesn't apply. And the perm solves all of it. So perm does perm do both. What? Yeah, and then perm do both. Yeah. And then
remember to cover the fake calm on this.
What?
On the bottom.
What?
On the bottom, cover the thing they say fake call is they're a fake call, not a whisper.
Oh yeah, they're also we're not a fake call to action. We are asking. This is the most direct call to action. Not a call to action. We're not a whisper. We are asking you to just reject capitalism in this instance, and it's not a fake whisper. The debate is the perfect scenario for you to reject capitalism. Yeah, and then hold on. On framework, the interpretation is that we must be at the planet, but that the negative can do whatever they want, but this is abusive at the point where the negative gets communicated, but apparently the affirmative not. And they also say that we have to defend our impacts, but no, that's not true. We are defending we're defending in-round impacts and nothing else. And then they also say that the discourse turns itself, but no, that's not true. Make them articulate a specific link to our case. The discourse is not turning itself. The discourse does not. It doesn't function like that. And they also say that plan focus is key, but not at the point where plan focus just means we never learn anything. Predictability doesn't matter in a world where predictability just means we always run the same arguments and that we never learn anything new and we're stuck complacent within calculative thought. And they also say that plan focus is plan focus is not good for debate. And they also say that they say that no problem solving means we all die, but this is just a perfect. They're linking into calculative thought at the point where they're asking us to solve problems. We have to constantly always weighing. We don't link into this. We're asking you to. That not to just to simply demand the government to legalize hemp, but not to expect anything of it, because calculative thought is like the internal link to all the impacts in the round. And then also they said that plan focus checks judge intervention, but no, it doesn't plan focus. In a world where they're just debating the plan, then plan focus doesn't check judge intervention. As you can see, there are plenty of plan focus debates going on in the status quo. It's not unique, but there's always going to be judge intervention. They say policy comes before discourse, but this is also policy should not come before discourse, because then there'd be no way to hold teams responsible for sexist or racist discourse, and you have to be able to punish people for that. And they talk about why fiat's good, but no, fiat is not good in a world with fiat. Yeah, it's just it's asking you to choose between yes or no. It's calculative thought, and calculative thought results in you you see a bird and you think you're supposed to think, wow, this bird is beautiful, and then instead you just think, no, this bird is food. It reduces you. You go through life thinking like a robot. You just make choices based on what's going to advance your own interests, and that you don't want to go through life living like that. And they also said that specific reforms are good. How much time's left? I said 5 minutes instead of 8.
Yeah.
3:09.
You can use that one. Use that one.
Okay, and then yeah, and they say. retreating from politics prevents change itself, but no, retreating from politics is the only way you can make change itself. That's my cover. Retreating from politics is the only way you can make change itself, because the political system in the status quo is not going to take any action against this. If you have to demand that the government do things, and the second you can cross-apply the Xheka analysis that when you stop believing the system, it will fall down, and then you. The other cards, they also say critical rejection is bad because it won't cause any action, but neither does pretending a plan passes at the end of the round. There's never, so it's not better to like reject capitalism, and then we get to, and also they concede the Xheka daily, the Xheka daily forward says, well, capitalism, you have an ethical-political duty on face to reject capitalism. We get away capitalism against framework because they have implication cross-apply Xheka daily and ethical-political duty to solve. They perpetuate calculative thought because we demand that they demand that we weigh the plan. We give a plan. This compulsion to act is calculative thought. They seek to gain just as by reading their framework, which are examples of insecurity, because they perpetuate calculative thought. They create more threats because we can't learn to change ourselves. And then also, fiat is bad. The use of fiat to create a reconciled future society is a utopian construct and results in inaction. Stavrokrak is 99. Our age is clearly an age of social fragmentation, political disenchantment, open cynicism characterized by the decline of political mutation. The modern universalism on the political level, these universalist fantasy took the form of a series of utopian constructs of a reconciled future society. In our current political terrain, hope seems to be replaced by pessimism or even resignation. As a result of the crisis, the dominant modality of our political imagination, our inability to resolve the crisis in a productive way. So, fiat is not worse for debate in a world where like we just expect the plan to come true after debate, then we just resign ourselves from the political systems and we can never make any change come true. The only way you're going to get change, you can cross-play what they said about how personal rejection is key. You taking a stance against capitalism is the only one of the most realistic way to bring about its demise. And then, should I just extend case loop?
Yeah, I did this.
Oh yeah, and then also the 1AC framework. Oh no, wait. Our framework their framework allows for the domination of public discursive space and silencing of voices by the state and capitalism. This turns their education for Mitchell 98. That no particularly insidious means of social control have been developed in recent time. These methods of control are insidious in the sense that they suffuse apparently open public spheres and structure opportunities for dialogues and some of them often nefarious ways. Pursuits of argumentation, heightened silence and suppression should signal danger, critical thinking, oral advances, low and sufficient citizens to assert their voices in public deliberation, institutional interest, better shutting down dialogue and discussion, recruit new graduate skill and argumentation, deploy them in the information campaigns designed to neutralize public competence and short-circuit democratic decision-making, colonizing terms and spaces of public dialogue with instrumentalists for strategically motivated reasons. Institutions are set by harm or burnout to engineer a brief utilization of the public sphere discussion. Corporations forge a monopoly on argumentation and subvert critical deliberations by members of the enlightened. So at this point, you're always going to affirmative in a world where we get to weigh capitalism against any impact and capitalism.
Like that. Case.
Yeah, okay, extend across the solvency is relevant. The plan is the truth of the capital T that Xheka does for. You have to believe that you bring the system down. You're going to extend across anger at all for that. The system's like a wedding cake. If you knock down one part, even on the smallest level, you can begin to change things. And then
because their framework contradicts with their K.
Yeah, their framework contradicts with the K, so make them
totally arbitrary.
It's arbitrary.
Without their limit.
Let's go. Okay, what are the impacts to calculative thought in the 1AC?
Well, you see, calculative thought is pretty, like, the bird card talks about how calculative thought is pretty much internal to every impact.
Alright, what are the impacts?
Like every impact ever?
Let me find the card first. It talks about militarism, repression, coercive diplomacy, covert intervention, geopolitics, economic exploitation, and ecological destruction.
Alright, cool. And how does that become from calculative thought? What's the internal?
Calculative thought makes us view the world as like a series of like steps choices we can take to try to prevent these things. But we're at like calculative thought is like the internal link, because in a world where we just stop and think about things, we demand that the federal government do this, but not expecting to do anything, then we can remove ourselves from calculative thought and avoid the impact.
Wait, what was the first part? I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
That you don't ask for anything? What?
Yeah. Well, we ask for something, but we don't expect.
We make a demand that we don't expect to happen because we need
but
to
how does that solve
reflect on it.
calculative thought? How does calculative thought solve the impacts again?
Like calculative thought is bad. That's the.
I know, but what's the internal link to the impacts from calculative thought?
What do you mean?
Justice?
Well, the internal link is that in a world where everything is like reduced to between a choice of one thing or another, between doing something and like yes or no,
like
then
what?
So can you explain this?
Okay, so when you just say like yes or no, like right or wrong, you're saying like you're reducing things to like their pure like calculated.
Create a binary, right?
value.
Okay. So then what's the internal link? to
So like
military,
essentially
whatever?
that leads to us like of making actions that like haven't been reflected on, and we haven't like decided like.
So we should think about things first.
Like yeah, that's essentially what we're saying.
All right. And how is that? You're saying calculative thought bad though. How is calculative thought not thinking things through before?
Like the like we need to reflect on the world instead of like simply seeking to like just like immediately
And what
make
kind
a
of
choice.
thought is this?
It's like
If it's not calculative thought, what is it?
it's like
Meditative thought.
Meditative thought. Okay, cool. And then let's go on case. All right. So you said perm to the alt, and then cap case still has no link. And all right, how does the perm to the alt work?
Well,
You just
at
did
the point where
alternative,
we're
right?
advocating like total withdrawal from capital, and that's the exact same thing you are, then there's no difference between the plan and the alternative.
And then your other perm was do both.
Yeah.
And then how does that perm work?
Like, as in, like, you can, well, they're functionally the same thing. So you can withdraw from capitalism in all instances, and like, they're both of them, like, they're.
And you're
the same
only
alternative.
withdrawing from biofuels with hemp, right?
We provided hemp as an example to withdraw from capitalism as a whole.
You said these were mine.
642.
That pie was really salty.
Sorry.
It was good. It was good. It was just really salty.
You want some?
Wash it down with some chips.
You want some chips? I want.
I'm good.
Are you all driving back with Dexter?
I'm going back to my
Oh, okay. Are you guys just hanging out to see what happens in the rounds?
and to give advice.
Why?
6.
Oh, how does that take? Is it counterclockwise? Do you want me to do that now? Yes. You guys have the rest of our lecture? I think we're missing out. Oh,
I think it's
and something else. You don't have it?
I'll check. Oh yeah. No,
There's no other cards up here.
No, this is ours.
How was your sandwich?
Okay.
Oh, before I forget, can I give you a receipt, 2 receipts, like my gas receipt for this weekend, and you just add it to MB and stuff.
How much half stocks?
507. 507.
How many minutes published do you have?
7.
This
5.
is my gas receipt. This is from last night from Nick and I when we went to McDonald's. Thank you. Yeah, you can just add it to the other one.
Reimbursement. Wuss.
Groves, I think, currently owes me like $800
Who
or
does?
something. Groves does between MBA and Blake, maybe like $700.
Yeah, but one check is already.
Oh no, I know. I was just telling Orion. JL is very good about reimbursing me. I usually get it within a week.
You would have gotten the one had we not had the cold day.
My credit card enjoys getting used. It's okay.
Do you use one of the credit cards that gives you rewards for using it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Funny enough, it's like a store
4.
card, but it's like a Visa.
Okay.
It's like I think it's like a Banana Republic credit card or something. It was just like one that I never used.
Do you like get to buy jeans at Banana Republic
I
every once in a
get
while?
like these
or?
reward certificates because I put plane tickets. I had $2,000 worth of plane tickets on my card. I got like a bunch of free gift certificates for like $30. It works out okay. It's not the best
$337.
rewards program.
Yeah.
$2,000 for.
Well, there are not very many great rewards programs.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna go counter plan. And then case straight down.
What'd you say?
Counterplay and
But
case.
not framework, right?
No framework. Framework's this.
Are there overviews anywhere I should be aware of?
An overview on case.
Okay.
You can just go on case.
It is like a short
It's relatively short, less than a minute.
Okay.
Everyone ready? Except the counter plan, they say that it's not competitive, so perm do both, but the point which it is competitive because we're not doing it for biofuel, and also it doesn't link to the turns on case, which is saying that alternative energy is capitalistic. Then it is competitive, and also perm is bad because it's changing advocacies, and they can't do that at the point which they're only claiming discourse impacts in this round. Then changing advocacies completely destroys all this because it shows that they're not legit. They're not serious about their advocacies, and the point which they're not serious about the advocacies, and there's no reason to vote for them because there's no actual impacts because we're not learning anything at the point which they're not serious about anything they're trying to solve. And they say that oil is key because oil is the most capitalist thing, but they have a card saying that something like there are 5,000 ways hemp can be used, and they only reject one of them. At the point at which we reject 4,999, then we solve way better. And oil isn't the most capitalist thing in society. Think about the war on drugs and how hemp can be used with marijuana. At the point at which they're rejecting, we reject that, and they don't. Then we're rejecting capitalism in a different way that solves better. And except that we're the most ethical because we solve better. They can see this, so the point which they can see that we're most ethical, even if they win framework, that ethics come first, and that they don't have to defend a plan. Then we're gonna win at the counter plan. On to case. Okay. The affirmative tries to do alternative energy as a method for transforming politics, but it's never going to work. They use incentives to do nothing more than line in pockets of corporate cronies and allow capitalism to continue to come in, crimes against humanity unabated. The point which that they advocate this in this turns case that this is bad for a couple reasons. First, the system of capitalism is unethical because it excludes millions of people worldwide even participating in the system. That's Zizek and Daly. Second, in turns case, Zizek 89 says that as long as people try to fight their particular battles attacking the universal capitalism, true freedom will be unattainable, and there will always be a risk of war. Luckily, there's a proper response to the situation. Johnson says, as citizens, we must withdraw from capitalism because the only thing keeping capitalism alive is our benefit in it. They say perm do the alt. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing at the point at which they only reject capitalism in terms of deregulating hemp for use of biofuel. And they classify arguments from the case, but that doesn't solve one. That's not all of capitalism. At the point at which we reject capitalism with the alt for everything, then we're going to solve way better, and it's not the same thing. And this is severance because they're getting rid of the plan because they're just doing the alt, not the plan, and severance is bad. Seven perms are bad, and a voter A moving target 1A C strategy based off the 1A C plan. If they can remove plan points from all our offense is shot. This impacts competitive equity and education. B, if they're aggressive, they can keep moving plan points until we're at the perm through the counter plan, which is what they did. If what was legit, we would. If what was legit, we would never be able to win any counterplans that are necessary for competitive equity. And then C says the bad precedent severance justifies the perming DA counterplan, etc. They can never out of whatever link they can get. This makes it impossible to debate. And D, potential abuse as a voter. It may be difficult to determine whether or not inherent abuse has occurred, but the ballot serves as a deterrent. And E justifies counterperms as a means to retain offense against the app. Okay. Extend by Harrison White 06 saying that the ideology of the market is infinite discussion about climate and renewable energy, at the point at which they use alternative energy, they use hemp for biofuels, then they link to this cap key, and this turns the cap key because they're not actually rejecting as they claim to do, they're making it worse. And extend my B point to Harrison White saying that they do indeed link to capitalism and because of alternative energy uses the market, and then extend that we can't, my Zizek 89 saying that we can't solve unless we solve all of capitalism, at the point at which they can see this in the round that they all they say is that we can take one step away from capitalism that solves, but the point at which we solve better because we completely get rid of capitalism, then you have to vote negative in this round. And extend Zizek's, their own author concedes that if we don't reject all of capitalism, then there's no way we can solve. And extend them that we need direct action and personal is key, and at the point in which they're not personally rejecting all of capitalism, then you can't vote for them. They're only rejecting capitalism in terms of hemp and just regulating it in terms of biofuel. And they say that we don't capture the discourse sovereignty, but yes we do, because we are advocating moving away from capitalism and saying that capitalism is bad, but we're advocating a different way, therefore we solve the discourse better because we're advocating it better. And they say that they solve if they just fight capitalism one time, but the point at which their own author concedes that we need to completely withdraw, then there's no way they can solve it. And then they say perm do both, but it does apply how they can't change their advocacy and how this is abusive, because then they lose all of the in-round discourse because they're not actually advocating their stand, and they're not serious about their issue. And then extend that we solve because we're more ethical, and extend that there's no evidence that they solve, only the alternative solve. They have no evidence saying that either Dexter solves or personal people talking about it in debate solves, or that or they're just taking away hemp in terms of biofuel solves. They only have stuff saying that hemp causes capitalism, to the point in which they can't solve, and you can't look to their plan at all. And extend that. Also. These are the market mechanisms assures that there even renewable energy becomes another prisoner of capitalism, and only hinders renewable development by making alternatives inherently particular. Harrison White, 06. Policy area and climate change is shifted active precision to pure aspiration. The government is weak prisoner of capital. State regulative autonomy is compromised by the state's capture by capital. Practice leaving and passing by the sector. Massive policy struggle between companies and between individuals and companies in the state area exists only two extreme forms of capitalism. Organization capital, despite green electric corporate capital may be used is a most of to slow down the RE and control the white small scale. The specialized RE capital is divided between the competing RE sources and subjugated to the consistent and indeterminate state support, which is without jobs to constrain its development phase. And the criticism of use of hypothesis is only possible within the space opened by the ethics of universalism, Zizek in 2000. So when we criticize the hidden bias and exclusion of universality, we should never forget that we are already doing it within the terrain opened by the universality. Universality means actual precision and only rendering a thematic exclusion of which it is granted by continually questioning and renegotiating, displacing them by assuming the gap between our own form and by conceiving and unaccomplished in this very notion. And we find universal politics in the space that justifies exclusion, particularly and annihilation of the system of domination, not universal politics. Zizek in 2000. The research is exploring the fundamental shift in the very logical ways universal to works in social similar space. Universal didn't doing the same thing since the establishment of Borgo market society, in which individuals participate in social order not on behalf of a particular pace with the global social entities, but immediately as abstract human beings. And we do not raise particular.
Okay. Could you explain the link to the capitalism counter critique, please?
Yeah. Basically, what we're saying is that alternative energy is inherently a market issue, and the point at which you're advocating.
Why did we say we advocate like alternative energy and the market?
You advocate the deregulation of hemp, and alternative energy in general is capitalistic.
Does this critique assume that we key out the plan?
No, it doesn't.
Why can you
it's just your discourse. Just your discourse is enough to set it.
Discourse link. How does the discourse link?
Because you're still talking about hemp. You're still talking about this thing that's inherently capitalist. And at the point at which you're talking about this and we're not, we solve better than you because.
Okay, but like in the fact that we read hemp in the instance of capitalism, like the fact that we use this and we somehow have capitalism bad, doesn't that like how does that link?
I'm sorry, what?
I don't even know what you're saying.
Okay.
How do the terms like turn up discourse?
Because you're shifting your advocacy. And the point at which you're shifting your advocacy, you're not serious about your discourse, and then your discourse has no impact. If you can just change your discourse like that, if you can just decide not to advocate the same thing you were claiming is going to solve all these pre-fiat impacts, then it's clear that you can't solve.
What did you read here?
Are the ones I circled with the blue pen.
Okay, cool.
Those two, that one.
How are we like a market mechanism?
Because you use alternative energy, and alternative
Like
energy.
alternative energy is a market mechanism?
Alternative energy is about the market, and it uses the market.
Don't we legalize hemp? Wouldn't a market mechanism be like something that like is the government intervening, but aren't we like the government like removing something?
What?
Like, well, isn't a market mechanism assumes like the government is taking some sort of action to like control the market, but aren't we like different from that because we're like removing a barrier?
Just using alternative energy though, that's our thing. That just the energy concept.
Why does energy have to be inherently capitalist?
Because alternative energy is about using energy. It's about the thing you said about oil. It's the same thing like oil. That just using energy. It's about the economy. It's about how you can gain more money. How you can travel.
But if alternative energy is like net better than oil corporations controlling, then why should we be like rejected?
Because we solve better. Because we don't talk about alternative energy. Alternative energy is the market. We use the market.
Okay. So then, if this is true, then you're not going to go for the counter plan and the K at the same time, because isn't the counter plan like, if the counter plan, isn't the K the net benefit to the counter plan, and if the counter plan like links to your K, then how can?
No. They're two different worlds.
But at the point where like the link to our case is like the market, doesn't your counter plan also link to the market? If like.
We don't use alternative energy. We'll use the links are on case.
Okay.